After our discussion of the track view and its interface and how it works, I think it would be appropriate to give a little example. In this example, we're going to show how to control the animation using the track view. So first, let's create a simple animation. Under your Create panel, select a box and create a box in your top view. Create the footprint, extrude it, and that's good. Now take the Pan tool and move down a little bit and move over to the right. Take a sphere and place it on top of your box in the front view. Now we're going to create the animation. We have our time slider at 0, and we turn on the animate toggle. Select and move transform, and move the sphere to the back of the box. Move forward in time to time 20, and in the front view, move the sphere or the ball to the edge of the box. Advance the timeline to about 30 and move the sphere off the edge of the box down a little bit. Advance the timeline a little bit more and move the sphere down to the floor, and then give it a little bit of a bounce. So advance a little bit, move it up in the air a little bit, advance a little bit in time, move it down again, advance again, move it up just a little bit less, and then advance again and move it down to the ground again. Turn off the animate toggle and press play after selecting your perspective view to see what that's going to look like. So the ball moves to the end, falls off, and bounces. Nothing spectacular. Let's control this in the track view now. Stop the animation, open up the track view, and move it up, and let's move it so we can still see our perspective view. Click on the plus sign to the left of objects to expand that hierarchy, and move down. You can see our two objects, and we can expand both of these to see our transforms for our sphere, which is the animated object. You can expand the transforms to see that our transforms change. We have keyframes for just position. We can zoom extents, and now we can change the nature of our animation. Well, let's see how it looks. Press play animation with the controls, and you can see the timeline moving across our animation. First thing I'm going to do is select this mode, the Edit Ranges mode, and I'm going to drag the range out so that it fills the 100 frames that I have selected. If I drag it back, it's all going to happen in the first couple frames. But since I want it to fill all the 100 frames that we have selected, just drag it all the way over here. Click Zoom Extents to center that. Now I can click back to Edit Keys mode, and I can individually tweak these keyframes by selecting them and dragging them to change the way this occurs. And you can see that it's changing the animation ever so slightly. I can change the mode to Function Curves mode, and when I'm editing this way, I can see the function curve for position. And I can edit the position of our object in the different axes by dragging the curve at different points. If I drag this down, you can see that it changes the way the animation occurs. So I have a lot of control over the way my animation happens. And I can scroll to the right a little bit and change the curve in a different axis. So that value makes it jump a little bit higher. I can bring it down a little bit, and now it bounces a little bit less. So you can see these are the bounces at the end. So to summarize, I've created an animation, and I'm using these different editing modes in the track view to tweak it just ever so slightly. This is a very, very powerful tool, and it can be a little bit complex, and there's a lot to it. These are just the basics. I suggest that you play with using the different modes to edit your animations that you've created with your keyframes.